What does it really mean to know the truth? Knowing the truth is not about gathering information, but about seeing directly what is. The kind of knowledge I speak of cannot be taught because it is not a thought. It is the immediate understanding that you are none of what appears. But if I am not what appears, then what am I? You are that in which everything appears. Before the idea I am arises, you already are. You are not the body, the mind, or even the consciousness that observes. You are that which even consciousness cannot contain. And why does ignorance arise if we are that? Because consciousness has a natural tendency to identify with form. It says, I am the body, I am someone. That identification is the root of all ignorance. No one chooses it, it simply happens. So there is no guilt? None. No one commits a mistake. Ignorance is part of the play. The only error is believing that you, as a person, could have done something differently. Everything happens spontaneously in consciousness. And what is awakening? Awakening is to see ignorance without fighting it. It is to recognize that there is no I that awakens. When the idea, I am someone who seeks, fades away, awakening reveals itself on its own. And what role does the mind play in this? The mind is the instrument through which consciousness experiences itself. But when the mind tries to understand what is beyond it, it becomes confused. Use the mind for what is practical, but not to find the truth. Why can't the mind understand the truth? Because the mind is dual. It can only see opposites, good and bad, right and wrong, me and you. Truth has no opposite. That is why the mind cannot reach it. The mind can only fall silent before the eternal. Then should we silence the mind? You cannot force silence. Silence comes when you see the futility of all thoughts. The mind exhausts itself trying to understand, and in surrender, silence arises naturally. And what happens in that silence? Nothing happens, and yet everything is there. In that silence, the world continues to exist, but it no longer traps you. There's no someone observing. There's only consciousness being. Does ignorance disappear then? Ignorance doesn't need to disappear. It simply loses its power over you. Knowledge and ignorance are opposite concepts that exist within time. What you are is beyond time, therefore, beyond both. And suffering, does it also belong to ignorance? Suffering is the mind's reaction to what it cannot control. When the mind understands that nothing belongs to it, suffering dissolves. Physical pain may continue, but psychological suffering ends. And how is that understanding reached? It is not reached, it is seen. It's like opening your eyes and realizing it has always been there. The seeker stops seeking because he sees that he himself was part of the dream. Why do we insist so much on searching? because we believe something is missing. But the desire to find truth comes from the same error that creates the illusion of the self. The search reinforces the idea that there is someone separate. Then there is nothing to do. Exactly. There is nothing to do, but as long as you believe there is something to do, do it. Meditate, inquire, search. All of that too is part of the process. In truth, even your search is consciousness playing at remembering itself. And how can I know if I am truly understanding? When there is no doubt, not because you have all the answers, but because you see there are no questions. When the mind stops interfering, understanding is immediate, wordless. What is true understanding? It is seeing that everything that arises also disappears, and that you are not what comes and goes. You are the witness of all states, but even the witness dissolves into the absolute being. And can that be expressed in words? Words can only point. They cannot show it. They are like the finger pointing to the moon. If you keep looking at the finger, you will never see the moon. Why do humans cling so much to words? Because thought gives the illusion of control. Words build a world of I, but that world is only an echo in the mind. Behind all words is the silence from which they come. And spiritual knowledge, does it have any use? It helps up to a point. Teachings are like a thorn used to remove another thorn. Once the thorn of ignorance has been taken out, you throw away both. Then must one forget everything? Forgetting is not needed. Just stop holding on. What must stay will stay. What must go will go. Silence does not depend on memory. And what is wisdom? Wisdom is not knowing more, but needing less. It is seeing the simplicity of life without effort. When the I disappears, what remains is ownerless wisdom. And how does one live like that? Just like everyone else, but without carrying the past or fearing the future. There is no more my life or your life, only life. Freedom is not escaping the world, but realizing you were never trapped in it. And what is the relationship between knowledge and freedom? All knowledge belongs to the mind, and the mind belongs to time. Freedom is what stands outside of time. When you stop identifying with the one who knows or doesn't know, freedom reveals itself. And how can I know that freedom is real? Because it depends on nothing. If freedom depends on circumstances, it is not freedom. Real freedom cannot be lost. It is never gained, because it was never absent. And what happens to the world once one awakens? Nothing changes, but everything is seen differently. The world remains the same, but there is no I that owns it. Everything becomes light, without owner or purpose. so everything is perfect as it is? Yes, but not from the comparing mind. It is perfect because it cannot be otherwise. Error, pain, and ignorance are also part of the whole. And what remains when there is no more search? Rest remains. The peace of being remains. What has always been remains. That which neither begins nor ends. That which watches all beginnings and endings without being touched by them.